The period from about 1985 to 94 was a very difficult period for me because the industry didn't really believe in Tina Arena. I think they had a difficult time of trying to think of me outside that YTT box. When I finished Year 12 in 1985, I decided to do a 9-to-5 job. I went out and got a job with the State Insurance Office. I lasted 3 months. In 1987, I released my first single, which was a single song called Turn Up the Beat. And then in 1990, I released my first album, which was a record called Strong as Steel. You can't look back and go, wow, how fantastic was that? It's not the case. In 1991, I decided to leave Australia to go and set up in LA to learn the craft of songwriting. I was terrified, I was completely alone, and I would cry myself to sleep at night. But I kind of found that writing about things that I had feared and loved and hoped for was what was going to obviously heal me, and they have. I come back to Australia at the end of 1993 and a few months later released Don't Ask.
Don't Ask has become Australia's top-selling album of 95. It's heading for worldwide sales of 2 million records. Here she is, the first Aussie girl to win ARIA Award for Album of the Year, Miss Tina Arena.
When you have only ever been confronted with negativity and then you are critically acclaimed, everybody's talking about you, everywhere you go you hear your song. It was a huge slap in the face. You know, it was like, whoa, what do you mean? Particularly when you come from a background where you've always had to struggle. And then to have the opposite thing, it was very, very, very big pill to digest at the time.
It's interesting you say that because normally it's not success which is the hard pill to swallow, but it's failure.
I had danced with failure for such a long time, or what I thought was failure anyway. You know, I had great difficulty in being able to sit back and embrace it all because I was confused, I was hurt, I was jubilant, I couldn't believe I'd gotten to I couldn't believe that I was the first woman to ever win Album of the Year, ARIA Album of the Year.
So in those lean years, you were making commercials, jingles and the like.
For Mike Brady, yeah.
What were some of the silliest things?
There was a Movie Land ad that kind of went on for 25,000 years. There were lots of different things.
You were singing for chicken at one stage, weren't you?
Yeah, I did Ollie's Trolley Chicken.
Do you remember it?
Yeah, I do.
How'd it go?
How can I forget? What is it? Ollie's got this thing about quality, and everything we do.
Life can only get better after that.
Life can only get better. There's only one way from there.
Now,
that was an interesting experience.
I Want Your Body, which was...
I Need Your Body.
I Need Your Body,
yeah.
which was, in a sense, an effort to re-image you, right? As an adult.
Yes. And boy, what a great job I did at that.
These days you say you felt manipulated about all of that.
No, I was a kid. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know how to dress. Talk about an identity crisis. I think that was the period where my greatest identity crisis occurred. I could sing anything, but that's not the point. The point is about honing in and finding and connecting with something, and I was completely unconnected.
You've said if you didn't find a way of dealing with this, you'd end up 6 feet under.
Probably. You know, do you know many wonderful childhood performers who have had fabulous endings? Not really.
I mean, you talk about crying yourself to sleep every night. Not every night, but in LA often, for example.
Oh, God.
The sense of aloneness is great.
Yes, I do. I get what loneliness is all about. And it wasn't only that period in 91, 92 when I was in and out of LA learning the craft. You know, several years later on, you know, at the end of the 90s, I felt it, you know, I became reacquainted with loneliness of a phenomenal kind. Not only that, not only loneliness, but just Who am I? Why am I in this position? Why have I come here? What have I got to learn? I've obviously got something to learn here. I did. I learnt it. I learnt another language, which was
French.
Which was possibly my saviour. Indeep wasn't considered as successful as Don't Ask, you know, because first album you have a lifetime to make, second record you've only ever got 30 seconds to make. So it wasn't considered hugely successful in my own territory, but it went on to open some tremendous doors internationally.
Ms Arena has resettled in France, where her record sales are said to be approaching 4 million. She's also enjoyed chart success in Israel, Ireland, Belgium, Italy, Spain, Holland, Switzerland and Canada.
In January 2006, I won Best International Revelation for the NRJ Music Awards, which is the major radio network of France.
When the French listen to your music, do they hear someone who's French?
No, they hear somebody that's very passionate about their language.
Right.
And that sings in their language for the right reasons and makes an effort, and they love that.
So if they didn't know where you came from, where might they guess?
Oh, they know that I'm a foreigner, because I'm always going to have a wee bit of an accent. However, and that was the thing that they found immensely charming, a lot of that accent, because I'm speaking a lot more and perhaps a little better, a little more refined, the accent sometimes you can't even hear an accent. And then it's like, well, I can't polish this too much, you know, because it's not what it's about.
What advice do you have about the idea of marrying your manager?
Well, the obvious thing is don't do it. I was 28 and very young. I was like an 18-year-old in my head. I was certainly not ready for marriage, let alone a personal and a financial collaboration. It was just disastrous.
Nice shades.
Court proceedings have been settled between Tina Arena and her former manager, her ex-husband Ralph Carr.
You know, I wish her all the best with her career and a new album and all that sort of stuff, so it's great.
I met my former manager Ralph Carr in 1992. We married at the end of 1996, divorced by a couple of years after that. Vincent Ancini is my partner. We've been together for 8 years. Vince and I met in London in 2000. I love babies, Elle, I love them.
Other people's.
But I'm happy handing them back at the moment, because I realise that unless I fulfil my dreams, I can't possibly be a great parent. Come along with us to the beach, said her friends, Henry the Octopus, Wags the dog and Captain Feathersword. Who's that?
Henry the Octopus.
Is that Henry the Octopus? Gabriel was born November 17th, 2005, in Paris. He's almost 3 years old. Non, le melon qui est orange.
Oui, le melon qui est orange.
Ouais, c'est ça que tu aimes. C'est ça?
Oui.
My two men are the greatest loves of my life. I live for them.